So, let's talk about Pi Network, because right now, in early 2026, it's at a serious crossroads. On one hand, you've got this incredible tech revolution just bubbling under the surface. And on the other, a price that is just completely stuck in the mud. It's a huge tug of war, and we're going to break down that whole battle right now. And this is the core conflict in a nutshell. So you've got the Pi team over here, rolling out what you could call a silent revolution. They're building these amazing tools for actual real-world use. But the market? It's like it's not even listening. The price is just stuck. It really is a tale of two completely different fronts. All right, so here's what we're going to cover in this explainer. First, we'll dive into Pi's 2026 crossroads. Then, we'll get into that silent tech revolution. After that, we'll look at this stubborn $0.20 price fortress, see what's up with the community's D-Day, and finally, we'll unpack the big showdown, utility versus speculation. Okay, so this whole situation really heated up in early January 2026. There was this flurry of activity right between the 8th and the 11th that basically set the stage for a year that's looking, well, it's looking like it could be make or break for Pi and its millions of pioneers around the world. The stakes are just incredibly high. All right, let's dig into that first front, the technology. People are calling it a silent revolution for a reason. And, this isn't just about some minor tweaks here and there. Nope. This is a very deliberate, strategic push to finally give the Pi coin some real, tangible, everyday use cases. And you've got to see how simple their strategy is here. It's actually brilliant. The team just released a new developer library. So what does that even mean? It means that basically any developer, anyone who knows common stuff like React or JavaScript, can now plug Pi payments into their app in, get this, less than 10 minutes. That is a huge deal for lowering the barrier to entry. And the why behind all this is, well, it's everything. The whole goal here is to just swing the doors wide open for the millions of developers already out there. The idea is to transform Pi from something you just hold in a wallet into a tool you can actually use for payments. And that's how you create the kind of real-world demand that's needed to absorb all those coins that are already out there in circulation. But wait, it's not just about the fancy front-end tools for developers. There was also a major upgrade happening under the hood. The network's core engine got this huge boost with something called Protocol V23. And honestly, this is the change that makes all that other stuff possible. So the real star of this Protocol V23 upgrade is something called on-chain KYC. Now, what is that? Well, think about it like this. Right now, your identity verification usually sits on some company's private central server. With this change, it's now baked directly into the blockchain itself. This is a massive leap toward true decentralization, and it's the key that unlocks the door for much more complex stuff, like all those DeFi applications. Okay, so that's the tech side. But now we've got to pivot to the other side of this battle, the market. Because with all this exciting tech news flying around, you'd think the price would be soaring, right? Well, the market's reaction has been, let's just say, muted. And this brings us to what we're calling the price fortress. And here it is, the number that is haunting everyone, 20 cents. Analysts are literally calling this price level a fortress. It's become this huge psychological and financial wall that Pi just can't seem to break through. And you better believe it's being heavily defended. So you might be asking, why is the price so stuck? Well, a massive reason is supply pressure. In the very same month all this tech is rolling out, something like 95 million new Pi coins are scheduled to unlock and hit the market. That is a tidal wave of new supply that the market has to somehow absorb. So for any kind of price rally to even get started, all the traders out there are watching one specific number. And funnily enough, it's not even that 20-cent fortress. The first wall they have to break through is the resistance level just above it, sitting right there at 22 cents. And, just to throw a little bit of wild speculation into the mix, there was this viral forecast from an AI called Grok. It came out and predicted Pi could hit 50 cents in 2026. And of course, that got the whole community buzzing like crazy. But, and this is a big but, experts are really quick to point out that without that real-world adoption we talked about, a forecast like that is really just optimistic chatter. So all of this, the tech revolution, the market pressure, it's all building to this one climactic moment, a moment where the community itself gets to decide the path forward. Everything is converging on a single, absolutely critical event, a community vote. And looking at the timeline really puts the pressure into perspective. I mean, think about this gauntlet. From January 8th to the 11th, the tech revolution begins. Then, Sometime that same month, a massive 95 million coin unlock hits the market. And it all comes to a head on January 22nd when millions of pioneers cast their votes to decide the network's future. It's just one thing after another.
So, what are they actually voting on? I mean, what's on the ballot? This is no small stuff, believe me. They're going to be deciding the future of the open network policies, making these huge decisions on how the nodes operate, and basically setting the entire strategic direction for the whole Pi ecosystem. The power is literally in the hands of the community.
And this right here is where it all comes together. You've got this big push for real-world utility on one side and the powerful forces of market speculation on the other, and they are on a direct collision course. So the big question is, what happens next? This really boils down to the defining bet at the heart of this whole 2026 crossroads for Pi. On one hand, you have the core team's philosophy. They are betting the farm on the idea that real-world utility is the only way to create sustainable, long-term value. But on the other hand, you have the investor's question, which is a lot more simple and direct. That's all great, but will any of this actually make the price go up? So that's where we are. The tools to build a real economy are now in the hands of developers. The community is about to make its voice heard in a huge way. The stage is completely set. And the one question that will define Pi's future is this: will this massive strategic push for utility finally be the key that unlocks real, tangible market value?